For many years in San Francisco's LGBT little hometown, known as the Castro, if you were walking the streets and you heard gospel singing, it was probably coming from MCC, Metropolitan Community Church, and probably service led by our next guest, Jim Mitulski. How are you?
Great. How about you?
So fine. So how did a nice, lapsed Catholic boy like you from Michigan end up being in charge of a Holy Roller church in Berkeley? How's that?
Well, of course, they would probably be horrified to be called
Holy
Roller
Rollers
in Berkeley, because they're so liberal.
Yeah.
I have always loved working in interesting congregations, and in the 30 years that I've been a minister, I've worked in Greenwich Village in New York, in the Castro district of San Francisco, in northern Los Angeles, in Eagle Rock, which is a little bohemian sort of outpost, in Guerneville, in Atlanta, and then now in Berkeley.
I'd forgotten about the Russian River. I'd forgotten about that period of your life.
Yeah, so it's so the church in Berkeley was impossible to resist.
Right.
It's on the campus of Pacific School of Religion and the North Campus of UC Berkeley. It's half students and staff and faculty from the schools, and half liberal people who want to go to church in a smart place in
Well,
Berkeley.
and you also said that it's unlike MCC was in the Castro, which was almost entirely LGBT. In Berkeley, you're half gay, half straight.
Yeah, this congregation was really deeply committed to being more gay than a typical liberal, affirming Protestant church, but more straight than a gay church. And we've really achieved a kind of half and half mix of half gay, half straight.
Did you ever think, when you were, that little Catholic boy thinking, I want to be a minister, that there would be a church with openly gay people in the pews and up on the altar?
Well, I have to say, I did suspect that there were gay people up on the altar, but they were not openly gay.
Yeah, you think?
Yes. Yeah. And that's one of the things I've been so grateful for. My whole life in ministry, I've been able to be openly gay. And rather than being punished for it, as my colleagues in seminary would tell me, I think I've been rewarded by being able to work with really interesting congregations in unusual places where religion didn't necessarily have credibility because it was religion, but had to prove itself as a liberating influence.
Well, and it's interesting you say that. I mean, certainly for many people, I would include myself in this, for many years I wouldn't have considered any church a liberating influence in my life. Do you think there is still some of that bias from the LGBT community? They're like, Jim, you're a great guy, but I really don't need religion or God in my life.
Absolutely. I mean, I see that even in my own family and not just among gay people. I think a lot of people have been burned by religion. And, I went to Columbia University in the 70s. I'm a convinced Marxist as well as a Christian. And I learned there that the purpose of religion is to transform society, not to prepare for the life to come. And even though religion has been used to manipulate people and to control them, I really believe the true meaning of it, and this is what Jesus Christ embodied, was to challenge oppressive structures and to empower the oppressed to create a more egalitarian society.
Right. So from your point of view, Jesus was the original Marxist.
He was, yes, or one of many.
Yeah.
Doesn't have to be the original. But yes, I do believe that he embodied the best of Marxist ideals. And that's what's always drawn me to Christianity. I like to refer to Jesus when I'm preaching in Berkeley as Comrade Christ. And I wouldn't do that anywhere.
No, but it goes fine in Berkeley.
But in Berkeley, it works.
Yeah, so now, you raise an interesting point. We're, as of this taping, we're within days of May Day. The Occupy movement has gone through incredible ups and downs and whatnot. Is there a religious component to the Occupy movement?
I think that anything that inspires people to transform the circumstances under which they feel oppressed or have no voice or have no agency is absolutely spiritually inspired. I mean, I wouldn't say it's only that I would never try to convince a person who'd been burned by religion that it was that. But I do think that at root, social transformation is spiritual transformation.
Right.
And I've been very heartened by what I've seen. I grew up in a more activist time, I think. In the 70s, I learned about the importance of social protest, not only for the effect it has on the people that you're trying to persuade or change, but almost more importantly for the effect it has on
the
you,
protesters, right?
So that you internalize it and you move with that for the rest of your life. And I think that's what's going to happen with this whole generation of young people involved in Occupy, that they're going to be the ones that really lead a revolution, and the effect of it won't be seen possibly yet for 20, 30, 40 years.
Right. Do you think your work with MCC and other churches around the country is part of a religious revolution? I mean, for instance, the Catholic Church is dying in Europe but exploding in more conservative parts of the world, Africa. South America. The Anglican Communion is in the midst of, for all intents and purposes, a civil war. And there are churches we see all the time being turned into condos, apartments, office buildings. What's the role of a church, specifically an LGBT church, in these changing times?
It's a Christian belief that sometimes you have to die to live.
It's a very Christian belief.
It's a specifically Christian belief, and I affirm it, that things that last forever without any kind of rebirth or transformation lose their vitality. Lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender people have brought to Christianity a new vitality, and we've really changed it from the thing which oppressed us to the thing which frees us. And that vitality has benefited the rest of the churches. You know, these churches like the Episcopal Church or the United Church of Christ that I'm also affiliated with, that are liberal, people say are dying. Well, they're simultaneously dying and living because their vital new influences are all GLBT or other liberation-influenced communities. In San Francisco, City of Refuge United Church of Christ is an African-American, same-gender-loving Pentecostal church, and that is also a United Church of Christ, a liberal congregation. Everywhere you go, I think you can find evidence of new life and new creativity taking place in religion. And it's not going to die. It is not going to taper out. It will change. Right.
You heard, I'm sure, the news story that was getting quite a bit of play in the last few weeks about the minister in North Carolina that was saying, you know, what you need to do is kind of whip up on your effeminate sons and you know, dress up your butch daughters. And then he kind of backed away from that, which surprised me. What would you have said to him, and why do you think he kind of got the message quickly that that wasn't a very Christian thing to say?
Well, I'm not even sure what I would say to him. I'd do everything I could to be civil. But the truth is, to use your religion in an ignorant way to reinforce gender roles or stereotypes or anything that is contrary to a person experiencing the full expression of their humanity is bad religion, poor scholarship, and human cruelty. So I think I would say to him, bud, time to open up your Bible and read what Jesus was doing and see if you can in any way change your mind about where Jesus would stand and what religion should stand for. Religion that isn't paying attention to gender, class, race, and involved in making sure that the dynamics are equal is not real religion as far as I'm concerned. It's just a puppet of the people who benefit from unequal systems of privilege.
In our last few moments, talk to me about what your next big thing is.
I think it's time for gay people, lesbians, bisexuals, transgenders to take our place in the world that we have helped shape. So even more integration, and I'm especially excited about training new students, which I do at the school where I work, to lead churches that model that, rather than having to be changed or transformed from within. They lead in that way.
So this revolution that you're talking about, you're getting ready to lead it. Is that what you're telling me?
I'm already seeing it, but I'm ready to sign up.
All right, we've been speaking with Reverend Jim Mitulski. I'm David Perry. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week on 10%.